Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday to you. So I wanted to share a story with you guys. Many of you might not realize I was actually raised in Mexico. So my parents were missionaries down there for 17 years, and they have some incredible stories about God's just grace and goodness in their life. But I wanted to share a quick story with you guys about a time where God just proved that He hears us, and He heard my family's cry. So on this particular time, my father and a local dentist were going to be going to a local village in Mexico. Now, this was not just, a nice little village that maybe you would see in the movies or something. This was a remote village in the jungle of Mexico. And actually, there was a local witch doctor there who was not very happy about what my dad and this other man were going to be doing. So my mom, knowing this and having 4 of us young kids at home, was rightfully very nervous about my dad going on this trip and had just been praying to God, Lord, keep them safe, protect them, grant them protection as they go up there, keep them safe, let people come to know you. And she had been praying this for a while. So on the night before my dad was supposed to be going up to this village, he woke up unable to breathe. My mom said it was one of the scariest moments of her life. They rushed him to a local Mexican hospital, not a hospital like we would have here. And they end up having to perform an emergency tracheostomy on my dad to open up his windpipe. He had this for upwards of 2 to 3 weeks, my mom said. And during that time, as she stood by his bedside, she said that she was just so frustrated and angry. Like, Lord, I prayed to you. Did you not hear me when I asked you for protection for my husband? He was going out to do your work. How did you not hear me? So one afternoon after this had happened, my mom went home to gather some clothes, and one of the local villagers had come to the house, had walked hours to get there, and he knocked on the door and he told my mom, I'm so sorry about your husband. And my mom replied, thank you. I appreciate that he is doing better now. I'm actually heading back there now. And he said, no. I saw them bury your husband a few days ago on the side of the river. And my mom, confused as to what had happened, this villager explained to her that at that exact time that my father and this dentist were supposed to cross this river into this village, 2 drug dealers crossed instead, and the local witch doctor had their lives taken at that very moment. So you see, God in his supernatural grace had my father fall ill with something that ultimately spared his life. So at the time, although it appeared to my mom like God hadn't heard her, was not listening, in reality, he answered her prayer in a supernatural way. Though it wasn't the most joyous of answers, he answered her prayer and he spared my dad's life and granted him safety. And to me, when I struggle with this concept of, God, do you even hear me? A lot of times I go back to that story because you see, so often we want God to shout out things through like a golden megaphone through the sky. We get frustrated when we feel like he's not hearing us because maybe he's not answering us in the time that we want or the answer that we desire. And we can't predict those things. Unfortunately, we don't know how God is going to answer our prayer. But Psalms 34:17 says that God hears our cry, and Romans 8:28 tells us that he's working everything together for our good. So just like he worked that entire situation with my father out for his good, God is doing the same for us. And that is a completely predictable promise that we can rely on. So let's dive into that promise this week. Let's live in assurance of God's goodness and grace in our lives. And let's live a blessed week. See you guys Sunday.